customer is the marketer. Our friends are our marketers. Our employees are our marketers. That sort of advocacy is where the world has to go, because that 2/3 of marketing that's occurring without us, we can't buy our way in like the old days. We can't take out ads and get into that 2/3. We have to earn our way into those conversations.
Welcome to episode 237 of the industry's leading business podcast for fitness owners and managers. This month's interviews are brought to you by our podcast partner, MyZone, the wearable technology that enhances paid programming and drives customer engagement. To find out more, go to myzone.org. Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me for the very first episode of our birthday month. That's right, it is happy 4th birthday to the Fitness Business Podcast. And if you haven't yet heard the news, it's not only our 4th birthday, but we are also celebrating a huge 237 shows and 400,000 downloads, making us the longest running fitness business podcast on the planet. So I want to start this week's show by saying a big thank you to every single one of you who is listening today. Thank you for being part of the FBP family. Thank you for listening each week, for subscribing to the show, and thank you for sharing the show with your colleagues and your teams. In honor of our birthday month, I have a favor to ask. If there's something that you have learnt from the show, from any of the episodes, then could you take a moment to leave us a review? It takes less than 2 minutes to do on your phone. All you need to do is go to the podcast player on your phone, find the Fitness Business Podcast, scroll down to where it says tap to rate and write a review. Then leave us 5 stars and a quick review. I promise it's super quick. So thank you so much from all of the team. To kick off our birthday month, I can't think of anyone I would rather have on the show than one of my all-time favorite authors, Mark Schaefer. For any of you who don't know Mark, he's a globally recognized author, speaker, podcaster, and business consultant who blogs at Grow, one of the top marketing blogs of the world. He teaches graduate marketing classes at Rutgers University and has written 7 best-selling books. Mark's new book, Marketing Rebellion, The Most Human Company Wins, has already hit number 1 in both the marketing and advertising categories on Amazon. He has a show called the Marketing Companion Podcast, which he hosts with Brooke Sellers. And if you're new to the FBP family, Mark first appeared on the Fitness Business Podcast in 2017 to chat about how to build your personal brand and become known. If you missed that episode, just go along to today's show notes where I've included a direct link. Now, during today's interview, Mark and I chat about what the current marketing landscape looks like and what has changed from the past. We chat about what it means to take a human-centered approach to your marketing, why the connection between your employees and your customers is instrumental to your marketing strategy, and Mark shares an example of a well-known fitness brand that is leading the way when it comes to customer interaction. We're about to hear this week's interview, but first, thank you to our podcast partner, MyZone. MyZone is a wearable technology platform that leverages personal goal setting, gamification, and social platforms to motivate your members. Learn more at myzone.org. And now it's time for this week's show with Mark Schaefer. Mark, congratulations on the launch of your latest book, Marketing Rebellion. I've had the absolute pleasure of reading it recently, so congratulations.
Thank you. It was a long work to accomplish. It took about 2 years to write it. And in the middle of this, I thought, what are you doing? Because, oh my gosh, it was a lot of work. But based on the feedback and the reviews I'm getting from people, I think it was worth it. People really love the book.
Well, I'm thrilled that you wrote it. And I have to say, one of the biggest challenges in preparing for this interview today was that there were so many questions that I wanted to ask you. And so I really had to try and narrow it down. So we had sort of a 30-minute interview. But if I could, I'd probably be questioning you all day about, the ins and outs of the book. But in one of the sections of the book, you say, no strategy we employed in the past is likely to work in a world where technology is racing ahead of us. So to start off with today, Mark, can you explain to us what has changed from the past and what does the current marketing landscape look like?
Well, whenever I write a book, it's because I get curious about something. I see a problem that I don't understand. And in this case, I was going around the world and meeting with all these different executives at big companies and small companies and entrepreneurs and universities. And I kept hearing the same thing over and over again, that people are feeling overwhelmed. They feel stuck. They feel like they're falling behind. Their marketing doesn't work like it used to. And I heard this so much that I got curious about it. And my hypothesis was that the technology was changing so much that people were feeling overwhelmed. And that's part of it. But as I got immersed in the research, I found something even more profound, that sure, the technology has sort of moved ahead of us, but our customers have moved ahead of us. And I just got immersed in all these trends, and it was eye-opening to realize how much has changed, how technology has empowered consumers, and it's really changed the marketing landscape. Unfortunately, that's what's causing a lot of people to feel stuck, because they sort of have a routine about how they go about their marketing. Maybe they iterate a little bit from year to year. Meanwhile, the customers have taken a giant leap away. And their expectations, how they discover products, how they talk about products, is completely different. And a statistic that's sort of the cornerstone of the book is this idea that 2/3 of our marketing is occurring without us. That seems at first like a big shock to a lot of business people. And then once they think about it, what I find is that usually they say, yeah, that makes sense. Because they think about how they buy products, how they hear about products. It's through social media or reviews and testimonies and influencers and content being shared by their friends, word of mouth. And so the challenge is, how do we get invited to that 2/3? That is really the new mindset that we are challenged with. And that's what I explore. The solution to that is what I talk about in my book.
Well, I have to share with everyone the conversation that we just had in the lead up to this interview, because I think it explains this perfectly. And that is, you and I first met over an interview a couple of years ago, and we were talking about your first book, Known. And one of the things that I have done since is that pretty much in every presentation that I have done in Australia or the US over the last couple of years is I always go out and tell people about that amazing book, because I benefited so much from it. And I know that there are so many fitness professionals out there that will also benefit from it. And so I know now that's sort of a big part of, what has gotten me to where I am. And it gives me such joy to go out and share that book recommendation and lessons that you have taught me through those kind of opportunities. So is that a good representation of what you're talking about?
I think that's a wonderful case study. So first of all, you and I followed each other on social media, but then we had the opportunity to have a real conversation like this. We collaborated, we created content together, and then we started following each other on Instagram. So I'm kind of seeing what's going on in your life. And now there's like sort of an emotional bond that wasn't there before. And today we do bond with people more than we bond with brands. And look, nobody knows me in Australia. If I took out ads in Australia and said, hey, everybody, buy my great book, they'd go, yeah. Who are you? But you know what? They know you and they trust you. because that's who we trust today. We trust experts. We trust our family. We trust our friends. So when you go out and talk about my book, they're going to pay attention. The customer is the marketer. Our friends are our marketers. Our employees are our marketers. That sort of advocacy is where the world has to go, because that 2/3 of marketing that's occurring without us, we can't buy our way in like the old days. We can't take out ads and get into that 2/3. We have to earn our way into those conversations, like I earned my way in with you.
I love that, Mark. So in the book, you actually talk about this whole concept of a human-centered approach to business, and all of this kind of weaves into each other. So explain to us just a little more about, what that means to you.
One of the problems I found in when I was doing my research is that people tend to put too much emphasis on technology, and we over automate things that shouldn't be automated to the point where we annoy people. And it's not unusual in marketing to use technology in ways that people hate, like spam or robocalls. That's a big problem here in America. They're just out of control. You get these automated phone calls.
Yeah.
And, you get direct mail littering your mailbox. My wife attended a concert in Boston 3 years ago, 2,000 miles from our house. We're still getting direct mail from some entertainment venue in Boston. She'll never go to that again. So it's just annoying. So we have to stop doing what people hate. We have to find ways to use technology to reduce barriers between people, not raise barriers between people. So actually in the book, I have a whole 10-point manifesto about human-centered marketing. Do these things to connect with your customers in a new way. And probably my favorite company to follow right now is I think they're only in America right now, but I could be wrong. It's a company, is a cosmetics and skincare company called Glossier. So let's talk a little bit about what makes this company great. First of all, this company was founded by a young woman who's a blogger. And why is that significant? Young woman, because I think we can learn a lot from the digital natives today. They look at traditional forms of advertising and marketing and they think, why would you do that? And so they really are inventing how to do business. She started out as a blogger, built this audience, and she learned through her blog that there are lots of things about the beauty industry that people hated. She felt that a lot of traditional companies talked down to their customers instead of befriending them. So she started this new company called Glossier, and there are a couple significant things. First of all, she is the brand, right? We talked about how the personal brand really is becoming the company brand. People connect with her because they love her. And so if they love her, they love the company. They want to support the company. All of her sales come from word of mouth marketing. She does no advertising. And when she sends out her products, she sends them out in a way that makes it conversational. So she adds little extra things like stickers or glitter that people can decorate their products with. She sends it in a pink bubble pouch that makes a perfect background for Instagram. She makes the customer the hero. So all of the people demonstrating the products on her website are real customers. They're not supermodels. They're her real customers. So she makes the customer the hero. That's what I mean by customer-centered. It creates a company where the people are so emotionally connected to her and what she stands for that they want her to succeed and they carry the story forward. It's a wonderful story and absolutely a great case study on what it takes to win in marketing in this environment.
That's such a beautiful example, Mark. And I have to say that there was just so many times throughout the book that you were talking about this human-centered approach and this emotional connection that I just kept coming back to the fitness industry again and again, because one of the areas that you talked about is saying that we must elevate human connections between our employees and the customers who need us. And I think this is just so, so important for our industry, as it is for every industry. So I'm interested to know, in your opinion, what the fitness industry and what fitness professionals can learn from other industries when it comes to connecting employees to our customers.
Well, I think I want to flip it a little bit, because I think other companies can learn a lot from the fitness industry. I think in many ways the fitness industry leads this.
I love hearing you say that.
Yeah, well, think about, why do you do what you do? I mean, I see you, and I see you how you run your business through your social media posts. You love what you do. You're passionate about what you do. You believe in what you do. You're helping other people. And your marketing is just an extension of you. It's an amplification of you. And so that's why people create that emotional bond to you, because they believe in you. Now, think about a big company like, I don't know. Well, I better not say a big company, because it might be they might be my customer one day. But think about a big tech company or a big automotive company, and think about this. Who do you love at that company? Who's the person that makes you feel emotionally attached to that product? In fitness, it's all about the people. It's all about the personality and the energy and the music and the style. And there's no better industry, really, other than maybe, music or something like that, where it's so much about the people and the personality. I think it comes natural to you. I think the opportunity for the fitness industry is courage, is to say, look, we don't need to take out ads. We're good enough. We need to amplify, we need to build our personal brand, because increasingly the personal brand is the brand. It is you. People want you. They want to hear from you. And I think it's like tweaking the focus a little bit to say, hey, I am confident. I do love what I do. And I just need to find new ways to show it. We need to find ways to add that human touch, that passion, that personality in every customer touch point. When they come into the facility, when they leave the facility, when they call us or text us, or they have a problem, or we set up a meeting, we're out in the community. What can we do to add our faces and our smiles and our passion, instead of relying on technology that's faceless and soulless?
Well, Mark, I have to say thank you, because I think it's a beautiful compliment that you would look to the fitness industry and as an example of this area. And I must say that one of the things that I've so admired over the last couple of years is watching how the boutique studios in particular, a lot of the boutique studios in the US and in Europe, have really celebrated and amplified their instructor team, so their group fitness instructors, to be faces of the business and to be there present on their social media and interact with their customers. And we've absolutely seen the benefits of how that works, because the customers, the people that are coming along to the group fitness classes, feel as though they have this personal connection to those instructors. And that's really been something that has developed quite significantly over the last couple of years in the fitness industry.
I think that's a perfect example. And what other industries are doing that? I mean, are they doing that at your grocery store? Are they doing that at your auto dealership, where everybody just shudders to go buy a car still? Are they doing that sort of thing at the local bookstore or a restaurant. So I think that's a great example that the fitness industry is leading the way by unleashing the passion and the personality of their employees. I think that's fantastic.
Throughout the conversation today, Mark, we've been talking about this human-to-human connection and immersing ourselves in this space. And in your book, in Marketing Rebellion, you give so many valuable case studies. And I was trying to think of ones that are fitness related, which, you talked about Nike and North Face and Lululemon. But don't feel restricted to that when I ask you this question. And I know it's going to be hard to drill down, but can you share with us some ways that businesses have incorporated this face-to-face interaction with their customers?
Well, I think Lululemon is a great example, and probably one that might be familiar to some of your listeners. So they're more than just a store that sells fitness gear or yoga gear. So the first thing is that their stores are actually designed for conversations. So remember, the key idea here is that we need to get into that 2/3. We need to get our story into those customer conversations so that they become advocates for us and carry our story forward. So the stores are literally designed for their store representatives, their sales representatives to constantly engage with customers. When they stock the shelves, they do the stocking when the customers aren't there. So they're always available for conversation. Number two, they're always dressed in fitness wear. They look like they're ready to go for a workout. So again, that sort of spurs a conversation. Well, what's your favorite workout and where do you go and what do you do? Third, every time they open a store, the first thing they do is identify who are the influencers in this community. In other words, who are the people that are trusted, that people look up to in the fitness business in our community? How can we partner with them so that they can carry our story forward? Because that's a powerful way to spread the word. And then fourth is they use their store after hours for fitness demonstrations, for discussions, sometimes for yoga classes. So they're bringing people together. They're bringing customers together. They create a bond that way. They're not just there to buy something. They're there to have a class. And so this store is connected with something powerful. One of the things I learned personally from writing my book is the power of bringing people together. And that seems so simple and it seems so straightforward. And maybe I needed just the reminder. But when I talked to a lot of the case studies that you mentioned that in the book, I kept hearing over and over through these interviews, people said, when I brought people together, it changed everything. Isn't that the ultimate human-centered marketing? They actually see you. They hear you. They see your smile and they hear your story. So those are 4 or 5 things that we're seeing at the Lululemon store that I think is really driving their success. They almost never have sales. They are able to attract a premium for their price for their fitness gear. And the reason is it's just more than a store. It's just more than a gear. It represents the value of people, the values that are shared by the people who love to go to the store. They're building this emotion around fitness and the people who work in the store and these influencers that's more important than the color or the style or the price. It's the emotion. That's what marketing is all about.
A really great case study to share. Now, before we wrap up today, I do want to just let everyone know, or anyone that actually hasn't read one of your books previously, one of the things that I love, and we talked about this briefly in the pre-call quick 5-5, is that, you know, in your heart, you are such a teacher, and that comes across. You shared that beautiful story about your daughter loving the way that you explain things. And one of the best things that I love about your books is not only how you explain them in the book itself, but the workbooks that accompany your books. And one of the things that we are huge advocates for here on the show is professional development and learning, and not just keeping that learning for yourself, but paying forward that learning to your teams. So I just wanted to make everyone really aware that when you read, whether it's Marketing Rebellion or Known, one of Mark's books, you get this amazing resource, this workbook as part of it. And I just think it's a fabulous learning tool that all of our owners and managers out there can actually use to help their team learn about these areas as well. So I just wanted to add that in, Mark, and thank you for providing a great resource.
Yeah, that means a lot to me, because I am passionate about this and I do believe in this, and I want people to succeed. And I really don't want them to have any excuse not to succeed. That's why I'm trying to put as many tools in their hand, like the workbook, which has background information, bonus content, and study questions, so you can think about how each of these chapters applies to your own business. So thanks for mentioning that. I'm glad you love that. That means a lot to me.
It's a wonderful resource. Well, Mark, look, thank you so much. I feel very, very blessed personally to have the opportunity to speak to you again. I am so thrilled that we can share your expertise with all of the FBP family. I'm going to be putting all of your contact details and the book details in our show notes today. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us once again on the show.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for reading my book and being so well prepared with awesome questions.
My pleasure. Take care. I'm about to share this week's Fit Bizspiration with you all, but first, here's a message from our friends at MX Metrics. Member experience is more than just NPS. With MXM's Member Experience Toolkit, you build a unified view of the member experience, from purchase to onboarding to everyday usage and cancellation. Wire your entire organization with actionable feedback using MXN's Member Experience Toolkit. To find out more, go to mxmetrics.com. Thank you once again to Mark Schaefer for joining me today. And this week, for something just a little bit different, I'd actually like to share with you all my Fit Bizspiration actions from talking with Mark today. So action number 1 is this. Have a think about your business. Who are your ambassadors? Who are your advocates, your raving fans, and your influencers? And what do you do to support and to encourage them to talk to their friends and their community about their experience with you and your business? Number 2, Mark talked about connecting with our members and clients at every step of the customer journey. So today I want to encourage you to take a look at your own business and consider how you're adding the human approach to your customer experience. What does their journey look like with you, from the time that they Google you and look at your social media to the time when they're taking part in a group fitness class? Take a moment to review and to refine your customer journey. And Fit Bizspiration number 3 for this week. When it comes to your team, what does their individual engagement with customers look like? What role does your team play in your social presence? Do they fully understand your business vision and mission, and do they represent it at all times in front of your customers? Last of all, if you enjoyed this small look into Mark's latest book, Marketing Rebellion, then make sure you head to today's show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where I've put a link where you can purchase that or any of his other books. And a quick tip. If you're like me and a self-confessed fan of listening to Mark's voice, then do yourself a favor and get the Audible version, which he narrates himself. Happy listening. We'd like to thank our sponsor, OneFitStop, for their support, and we highly recommend all fitness professionals go to onefitstop.com to find out how their software will enable you to take control of day-to-day management in your fitness business. OneFitStop's scheduling, client management, programming, and payment collection tools will set your business up for success.
Precore Quickfire 5.
This week's Precore Quickfire 5 guest is the Managing Director of Delos Delta Brooke Dixon. Brooke, a very warm welcome along to the show.
Thanks, Chantel. Pleasure to be here.
We're starting off with a Precore Quick Fire 5. So tell us, why do you do what you do?
Well, I love smart cities. I'm passionate about achieving better outcomes for people in cities, livability, productivity, and sustainability. And so that's why I do what I do, Chantel.
And what's one ritual that helps you become better at what you do?
Oh, look, I'm a bit of a stickler for evaluation. That is, every time we do a project, every time we go through a process, we like to sit down and really think, what could we have done better? What could we learn? How can we do it better next time?
And are there any apps or systems that you use to stay in control of your workload?
I'm pretty old-fashioned, in fact. I just like the written list that sits next to my desk. But, of course, when I'm on the move, I use the Wander List, which is the online version of that. Very simple, but effective.
Definitely. That's a great app. And are there any books, podcasts or blogs that you would recommend to us?
Oh, look, so many, Chantel. But I have to fall back on my old favourite, Zorba the Greek by Nikos Kazantzakis, a great existentialist novel. And Zorba and Nikos, they know how to live life. And ultimately, that's what we're here for.
Oh, that is a great one. And I have to say, in 4 years of doing the show, I have not had that book recommendation before. So thank you so much. And give everyone just a really quick overview of the topic that we're going to be focusing on during your main interview.
Sure, Chantel. So look, I'm an expert in smart cities. That is the application of digital technology and how it can help make our cities more efficient, more productive, more livable, more exciting, more vibrant and safe. That means things like Wi-Fi networks and smart parking and sensors and big data, all that stuff. And we're going to be having a look at how it's changing our cities for the better or for the worse, in some cases, I suppose, and also what impacts and what are the implications and applicability to the fitness industry.
I absolutely love that we are doing this topic, Brooke, because it's so different to what we would normally explore on the show. And it's something that's brand new to me, I've got to say, and I think it will be for a lot of the FBP family. So I'm super excited to get stuck into our main interview. Thank you for joining us today for the Precore Quick Fire 5.
Excellent. I love it. Very exciting.
Thank you for joining me for this week's show. A quick reminder that all the resources and links for today's episode can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thank you to our foundation partner, Active Management. As a listener of the show, you have a special opportunity to work with JT. You can get one free session when you buy one coaching session. No matter where you are in the world, technology allows him to work with you. Simply go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family and work with JT to get more people moving and moving more often. That is one free session when you buy one coaching session exclusive to you. Go to activemgmt.com.au/FBP family. Thank you once again for joining me today. Have a great week up ahead, and remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.